Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Bigfoot Weekly. Today is Monday, July 29, 2013, and without any further delay, let's get this thing rolling. Alright, we're going to start it out with a video that was posted by our own Nikki C. She's one of our YouTube Bigfoot community amateur researchers. She's a subscriber as well. And she spent a week up in northern Arizona bigfooting, and she managed to capture a couple of interesting things on video. This was one of them. This is a tree structure that she caught or found, and it's pretty interesting. It's posted up on her channel. I'll leave a link to that. Nice going, Nikki. Alright, this next video is on YouTube, and it was produced by the BBC. It's called X Creatures Investigations by Chris Packham. And this particular one covers a Yeti. I believe it's entitled Yeti Myths and Men. And it's a pretty well done documentary. In fact, they go up in the Himalayas and investigate, follow up, interview, and I believe there's an expedition or two. Anyway, it's really interesting. Gives you a good breakdown in history of the Yeti and when it was, how long ago it was discovered, what the locals think of the Yeti, etc. It was really well done documentary, and it's out there in its entirety on YouTube, so I'll post the link to that in case anyone is interested in the Yeti. Dean Cain to host new original series $10 million Bigfoot bounty. I covered this about a month ago or so, where I believe it's Spike TV that's putting up $1 million to any Bigfoot hunter, Bigfoot researcher that comes up with an actual Bigfoot. This was announced last year, late 2012, and so I've been anticipating that this show would probably air sometime this year. I was wrong about that. So this is really just an update to that. It's set to premiere January 2014, so we've got to get through the rest of the year there before we get to see the start of this show. But it's interesting. I definitely want to stay attuned to that. And the thing that I'm most curious about right now is who the researchers are that were selected for this $10 million. That's what I'm really interested in finding out. And I think once you know who they are, you'd probably have a fairly good idea who's going to win and maybe who is not going to win. But anyway, that's just an update on that TV show upcoming January 2014. So mark your calendars. Look forward to that. Okay, moving on. Sasquatch Bioacoustic. I just found these guys, I want to say a week and a half or two ago. And they collect vocalizations and do the analysis on vocalizations. As far as I can tell, from several different areas. Some of this stuff came from, I want to say Virginia, Iowa, Washington, and I think they've got some stuff from Georgia as well. But they do a nice job of breaking it down, and the videos are formatted just like you see here, where they've got everything isolated, and they tell you exactly what they've captured and when to listen for it. It's pretty cool to listen to or to watch. And I think they do a great job of doing the breakdown and putting these videos out. So I'm going to leave a link to their channel. Again, they're called Sasquatch Bioacoustic. It's good stuff. Ever dream about being in your own Bigfoot movie? Making your own movie with the big guy? Well, now you can. Check this out. I found this by accident. And I think it's put out by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. But let's get through the ad. What it is it's a piece of paper and some software that enables you to kind of bring your own little 9-inch, 10-inch Sasquatch to life. You print the paper out, then you download the software, and then you do it on your computer. And there's several commands you can give them to do a, dance or turn around or do odd stuff like that, I'm gonna download one of the, or show one of the videos. Let's see, I think she has him. This guy drinks a beer. So anyway, if you've got children or grandchildren, this would be kind of a neat little Bigfoot project to do with them. They can make their own Bigfoot movie and make them do stuff. So that's pretty. I thought that was pretty cool. Seems like a cool way to waste some time. Anyway, check that out. I'm gonna put the link out there to that. I kind of found that by accident. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so you're a Bigfoot enthusiast, and if you believe in Bigfoot, you probably have an open mind. So try to open your mind up for this one. And I'm not saying I advocate this or that I believe this, but I found it different and interesting. All right, there are some out there who believe that Bigfoot is telepathic and can communicate, via thought. And this guy in particular writes this article about possibly starting or looking into a research project on the telepathic side of Bigfoot, and is actually kind of going into some detail about some writings by someone named Wayne Dyer, who talks about 3 levels of consciousness, and this animal, or the Bigfoot, is supposed to be on the 3rd level or operate at that level. Interesting concept. And he goes into different areas about what it would take to do the research. It's interesting. Check it out. I know a lot of researchers poo-poo the idea that the Squatch or the Bigfoot is telepathic, but stomping around in the forests with cameras and microphones and all kinds of other things haven't really worked very well. So it's kind of like fishing. You try a little bit of bait. And if that doesn't work, then you switch to another. And I think that's this guy's kind of idea, is that, maybe it's time to shift gears and try something different. I'll leave the link to that. Check it out. It's an interesting read either way. Alright, Man vs. Monster. This is a episode entitled Brazilian Bigfoot. And I started looking into Bigfoot as they pertain to other parts of the world, and so I ran into this. Apparently it's called the Mapinguari. Hope I said that right. The trouble I had with this is that I couldn't find the actual episode entitled Brazilian Bigfoot for this Man versus Monster. So I'm kind of asking for a little help. But anyway, the Mapinguari, this Brazilian so-called Bigfoot, really is not a Bigfoot. They think it's a sloth, a giant sloth. Thousands of years ago, these giant sloths pretty much roamed the entire Brazilian forests, and then were thought to be extinct. But many in the scientific community out there believe that some could have survived because the forest really hasn't changed much over the course of those thousands and tens of thousands of years. So there's a chance these could have survived. They've been described as large, stinky as hell, hairy beasts. And the one that this gal here, she actually is an eyewitness. She described it as no more than 7 feet tall or so, and really stinky and long hair on it. So it's definitely not a Bigfoot. But the howl on this thing is supposed to be pretty outrageous as well. It's supposed to be pretty loud and scary. So that was kind of interesting. So I searched YouTube and other areas for Mapinguari, and unfortunately there's just not a lot out there on this thing. So if any of you find anything with regard to this Man vs. Monster episode, if it's out there in its entirety, maybe I just didn't look hard enough, please let me know. But if you're interested, this is out there. This guy Richard Terry went out there to investigate, and this is part of National Geographic. So I found it interesting, but it's not really a Bigfoot. So since it's not really a Bigfoot, I kind of lost interest. If it's a giant sloth, which is what it appears to be, then they can have their sloth. All right. That's all I have for this week. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. To those subscribers that have been with me from the start, I appreciate that as well. Any new subscribers. I want to close with just a couple comments with regard to the Joe Rogan show of last week. Joe Rogan questions everything. I thought the show was really well done. He did question everything, without a doubt. He still received some criticism supposedly for buying into everything, but I don't think it was quite that way. I thought he was kind of hard on Scott Nelson, who was a linguist. Scott's worked hard, on his, in his research, and I thought he kind of maybe didn't give him enough credit, but that's just my opinion. Leave your comments, let me know what you think, and we'll talk again next week. Thanks very much, everyone.